This video will demonstrate how to use masking in Photoshop. In the Surrealism project, you're to take several images and put them together to create a surrealist portrait of yourself, similar to the George Benson example. So today I'm going to show you how to take several images and put them onto one. We're going to start with the portrait of a student. I created my surrealist white background, so I'm going to move the image onto the background. That. And 0. The background is 8.5 by 11. The image is not quite that size. Well, move it, and it'll be about that size. So now I want to get rid of the background. I can do that by using a quick mask. With quick mask, notice it has the brush has a very hard edge to it, so I want to soften that up. So when I select it, it won't look like it's cut away. So the great thing about the masking tool is that it looks for colors that are similar. Oops, and mask that way. If you get too far, you can go back here to minus, and you can kind of take away. Keep what you want to keep. Again. So now I've created this image. I can go back and refine the image to get what I want. I want to make the edge of it a little bit smoother, feather it a little bit, maybe to make the edges fuzzy. Click OK. And then now I'm going to take black and a brush, large brush, and this is only going to paint the area that's selected. So it looks like I'm going to paint the background black. I'm going to come in and do more with her, so I'm not so really concerned about the edges being perfect. And then I'm going to go to Select, Deselect. Now the idea is that we're going to take this image and we're going to alter it. So I'm going to add some things to it, things that are normal, like glasses, and things that are probably not so normal. So I've selected a lacrosse face mask, and I'm going to place it on there. It's too small, so I'm going to take the opacity down a little bit so I can see what I'm doing, and then go to Edit, Transfer Scale, hold down the Shift key and enlarge this so it's about the right size for her face. It would go around that, kind of like that. And return, but this doesn't look natural, so zoom in a little bit. Instead of just erasing the pixels around here, I'm going to do something called a mask. Now the advantage of using a mask is if I make a mistake, I can always go back and fix it, and I'll demonstrate that. But first I want to fit this to her face a little bit better, so I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, Rotate, and rotate this a little bit so it fits better on her face. Move it over so it's more centered. Make it a little bit bigger. So that's better. So now to create a mask, I'm going to go down here at the bottom of the Layers palette, and there's a mask icon. Add a layer mask. I'm going to click on that, and it's going to add a layer mask to the layer that was selected, which is the lacrosse goggles mask. And the way it works is the white area is kind of like see-through. When you paint the opposite on this, which would be black, it's going to take away the pixels. So I'm going to go over here and switch my colors back to black in the foreground. Get a brush. I want to take the edge of the brush to make it very soft to start off with. And then I'm just going to kind of take away the big chunks. And then I want to go in and zoom in. And I want to make my brush a little bit smaller and the edges a little bit more distinct. And come in and brush away. Now this is really similar to using an eraser tool that I'm going to show you. For instance, if I was coming along here and I made a mistake, if I was using an eraser tool, then I would have to just start over. The great thing about using the layer mask is I can switch the colors back to white on top, and I can brush in that layer. It's going to return the pixels to where they were, and I can continue, switch back to black, and I can continue taking away the layers that I don't want, the parts of the layers I don't want. So I'm going to continue doing this. And notice when I come in here, it starts really looking like the mask is fit to her face, as opposed to just sitting on top. That part goes away because that's the back side. And keep making my brush a little bit smaller to fit into all these detailed areas. And the more detail you get, the more convincing your surrealist piece will look. So as we get down to the actual edges of the mask, took away the white. Notice right here I took away a little bit too much, so I'm just going to go back and I can paint that piece back in, back to the black, and I can continue taking out in the areas that I don't want. And sometimes it's actually easier to go too close and then come back with the white and paint in just what you want to keep. And remember, the black takes it away, the white brings it back. And again, I want to make sure that my opacity is up to 100%. Go back and check the areas that I wanted to get rid of. zoom out. Now, once I've gotten this to where I want it to be, I can go ahead and make this permanent. You can kind of see the image of the outline of the goggles. So now I'm done with this layer, so I'm going to go to Layer, Layer Mask, Apply. And now it's one layer. And then to make this a little bit more convincing, I'm going to drop a shadow. So if I double click on the layer palette, I go here to drop shadow. This is going to show how much shadow, the distance, how wide it is. Notice it's catching some of the original image. So I'm going to cancel this. And I just want to go in and erase some of the areas that I didn't get before. And I can hide this, kind of see what that is. And then go back and drop my shadow. This will be the angle of the shadow going down. And again, I want to erase some of those areas that are showing up because of the shadow. And I've created my layer mask. So that's how you create a layer mask. That's how you're going to make your images look a little bit more convincing. So you need to practice that because you need to use several layer masks. The other way you can add things to help make it more convincing. So I'm going to use this image. I can also use what's called blending mode. So up here in the layers there's blending modes, things like dissolve. Color burn is a good one. It's going to create an image, and I can also take the opacity down so it's not quite so intense, but I can move that. I could line up those circles with the circles on the mask, or I could change to something like an overlay, so it just shows some of the image. So play around with this. You'll see there's a lot of things that you can do to make your images more fun or interesting or more complete. So there you go.